right, well, good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. We are so glad that you're here with us for Coffee and Conversations with United Way. My name is Savannah Ray, and I support our education initiatives at United Way. I also serve at the Spartanburg Academic Movement, also known as SAM. But we're excited here today because we at United Way, there are three key areas that we support in education: early learning, literacy, and then out of school time opportunities. And so today I am going to be focusing on out of school time opportunities, especially as we get ready for summer. And there's lots that goes on during the summer to still make sure that our youth are engaged outside of the school building. And so I'm going to give an overview of our out of school time collaborative, and then I have a couple of our out of school time partners, our team, to talk about things that are going on this summer and just a little bit about what we do related to our out of school time. So I would say when I refer to,
there you go.
yes. When I say out of school time, that refers to any time structured outside of the regular school day. So think after school and summer programs. But we actually launched an out of school time collaborative in 2019, really birthed out of one of our partners, Connect Spartanburg, which is an adolescent health initiative. Then it was housed at the Mayor Black Foundation. Now it is housed at the Spartanburg Regional Foundation. But the way we came about was really a need that we saw with our youth, particularly middle and high school age youth. One of the things we heard from the youth in our community, there's not enough for us to do throughout Spartanburg County. At the same time, our community advisory board with Connect and our providers were saying, we see that there's a gap and we really need an effort to bring together our providers so that we can increase access. So myself, along with Connect, my partner Megan Smith at the Spartanburg Academic Movement really went on this journey of how can we create a plan to pull together youth service providers and really think about our mission, which we work together with our providers to create, to close persistent opportunity gaps by improving, expanding, and sustaining high quality after school and summer programs for middle and high school age youth. So our vision is really that youth have equitable access throughout Spartanburg County, really thinking especially about our high priority youth. We've looked at our students in poverty, those who are considered vulnerable right now. In that vulnerability, we also are looking at our LGBTQ+ students because that's also where we see a gap and a high priority. And we have about 30 formal partners who are a part of this collaborative that we love and adore. And so when we talk about out of school time, what are the questions or one of the things that I always like to bring up is why out of school time programs matter. And so I'll pose the question to you first. If somebody in the audience, I want you to just think about your time growing up, whether that was from kindergarten through high school. What's something that you participated in that was transformative to you, that really helped support the person you are today? Maybe it was that experience, maybe it was somebody that you engaged with. I'll give you a minute to think about that, and then I would love to have a couple of people share that from the audience.
So it wasn't an after school program when I was growing up. So at about the age of 11 or 12, there was a community person that took interest in the youth that started a softball team. And that provided the opportunity for me to be more social outside of school and to, tap into my physical abilities, which was health issues, and that helped improve it. And I just remember that as being a special time.
Anyone else? Kim?
My experience is a combination between someone from 4-H, and who happened to also be the wife of the pastor of the church that I attended. Her name is Delphine Thornton. And so with us in the summertime, she would actually take us to her house and show us how her gardening worked. It became something that we loved to do each summer. Even though it wasn't an official program, we looked forward to that every year.
Yeah.
Savannah. I think that after school and out of school type program, especially in the summer, was for me an opportunity to explore things that I may not have an opportunity any other time. Right? There were a lot of sort of first time engagement opportunities. And for me, growing up in sort of an urban setting, one was through our zoo, our local zoo, and they offered a summer junior herpetology session. And I consistently did that, right? And ended up, having a large collection of reptiles. But the thing that changed is I can now identify any snake that comes into my yard, home, or otherwise.
That's great. So thank you. So out of school time programs matter. Relationships, the things you learn, we like to say it's an extension of what's occurring in the classroom, and there are certain skills that are built. And what I have on this screen, we actually have a profile in South Carolina that lists the qualities and characteristics that a student should graduate with when they leave high school. And so if you'll see, you have our world-class knowledge skill, the standards in language arts, math. We know those are basic things that students are supposed to learn. Then you have creativity and innovation, critical thinking, integrity, self-direction, global perspective, and a list of other characteristics. And those are things that we can also cultivate in the out-of-school time. So we, again, don't think that out-of-school time opportunities are just an add-on, but it's an extension, and we want to make sure that you've had the opportunity to build those skills. So our three key strategies, because we know that there are barriers for youth to participate, especially those who are considered in those vulnerable populations. But one of the things we have worked on is improving program quality. So the providers who are within our out-of-school time network, we offer capacity building opportunities. We also, one of the key things that is important for us is being trauma informed, so that we're able to respond to the needs of the youth instead of react and say, okay, you can't be a part of our program, but create safe environments for them. We also have a fundamentals course for positive youth development for our providers. Increase alignment and support. So making sure that people understand out-of-school time opportunities are important for youth. Also really aligning with our schools so that we're walking together with our students and walking with the community. And then finally, removing barriers to access and participation. And this has been one of the most challenging areas. One, because transportation is always an issue, and that's a thing that we discuss. And people, when we talk about equitable access, are always going, okay, like, do you have something to make sure our youth can get there? So that's things that we're always trying to discuss and figure out, how do we remove that barrier? And there are different avenues to this particular barrier, but one thing that we're trying to work on as a group, as a network, and a system. But one of the things that we've been able to do is support students through scholarships. So with our out-of-school time collaborative, and we'll talk a little bit more about summer programming and scholarships, we have been very fortunate because of the support of the community that we can provide scholarships so that more students can participate if that's a barrier for them. So the out-of-school time collaborative, since we launched in 2019, we've been able to provide over 420 scholarships. 160 youth, we provided 160 scholarships during the summer last year. We are already starting to provide scholarships this year. We had 83 students that we supported with scholarships during the fall, totaling over $48,000. And then finally, with our network, when COVID, and I say when, because it still is occurring, but we worked with 14 providers to provide some equitable recovery type programming and served over 1,000 or about 1,000 families. So a final project that I just want to share, because it's something that we would like to increase in Spartanburg County, is a project that we called the Out of School Time JAG Collab, the OST JAG Collab. And we partnered with Spartanburg Prep to bring multiple out of school time partners to one location and a coordinated effort. So with 6 out-of-school time partners, they came in 4 days a week, and the same group of students were able to participate in this structured activity. And I'm biased, but I thought it was amazing. We had a showcase of those students, and they were able to share about what they learned. And they said some of the things that you all had mentioned. They talked about their relationships, but they talked about some of those characteristics that we saw in the profile. Like, it made me think critically. They said that about the Science Center. Oh, it was challenging. I had to persevere. But it's those type of experiences that are going to help our youth. And we would like to do that more, not at just our schools, but at community-based locations in the future, so that kids are getting a variety of enriching opportunities. So it is about to be summertime, and so that means students are going to be out of the classroom, and we want to keep them engaged. So what I have done, I would like to call up our panelists to the front so we can talk about what's going on this summer, how you can plug in, and then just, again, underscoring the importance of what we do. So join me, Megan, Kim, and Mary. Yeah. So to start out, I would love for you all to just introduce yourself. So who you are, organization, what's your relationship with the Out of School Time Collaborative? We'll start with you, Megan.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Megan Smith. I work at SAM with Savannah, with many of y'all that are here as the Director of College and Career Readiness. And a part of that is to help manage our Out of School Time Collaborative with Savannah.
I'm Mary Levin. I'm old. I started teaching in District 7 at Mary H. Wright in 1978. I taught 43 years in the public schools in District 7 and taught science, and then had one single summer camp to do for John Green. And that was in 2015, and I haven't left the Science Center since. And I told him no 3 times, but it didn't matter. But I am really enjoying working with the kids. And a lot of them, I call them my grand students because I taught their parents, and now they're bringing them back to me. So.
And I'm Kim Moultrie, I'm the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Special Events, and we're a collaborative partner. Our programming mainly lies on the recreation side, but we have picked up some programming in parks and also most recently with our interns and special events.
Thank you. So I'll just say again, we have 2 of our out of school time partners, but we have 30 different partners, and we'll make sure that you have a link to a list of those partners following this event if you want to get engaged. So I mentioned summer programming, and I mentioned the word Summer Shakedown, and I really didn't get into that, but we recently just launched our Summer Shakedown page. And so I want to ask Megan, can you tell us a little bit more about what Summer Shakedown is, why it exists, and how people benefit from that?
Yes, so Summer Shakedown is both a website that hosts a list of summer opportunities from out of school time providers who are collaborative members. And if they're a collaborative member, that means that they have committed to those 3 goals that Savannah shared earlier, to quality, to equity, to being trauma informed, and to going through some minimum training and having minimum standards when it comes to professional development and safety. And so Savannah's pulling it up now. It's a list for parents and for youth to be able to go and see all of these summer opportunities in one place and have that information. But then what's really great, and Savannah already mentioned that all of the money and families that we've been able to help with scholarships is families can apply right there where it says learn more for a scholarship to be able to participate in this programming. A lot of the opportunities that you see there are free at no cost. The organizations already have internal funding or a way to pay for that, but for the opportunities that do have a cost, families can receive $200 to be able to access that programming throughout the summer. So it's a place for families and students to be able to get all of that information, access scholarships, and a place for our out-of-school time providers to be able to promote their programming. The website is actually hosted on Connect's page. Savannah already mentioned Connect. It's the Adolescent Health Initiative. It used to be housed at the Mary Black Foundation, and now it's at Spartanburg Regional Foundation. And this work was really birthed out of Connect and a federal grant where they were looking at how to reduce teen pregnancy. And so this was an upstream strategy of, well, if youth can be engaged with healthy relationships with adults, learn about healthy relationships with other teens, be able to find their spark is what we call, you all shared it already, you know, the thing that you as a youth really love, whether it's snakes or baseball or gardening, theater, cheerleading, science, depending on what that is. And we have so many different partners that span such a variety and spectrum of programming that we think a student will be able to find their spark and be able to have funding to be able to afford to participate.
Yeah. And so again, this link will be shared following this event, and we want to make sure that you share it with your networks. Like, the reason that this exists, we talk about increasing access, we want people to know about it. And so, I mean, we do have a limited number of scholarships, but part of it is we want people to simply know about it too. So even if we don't have scholarships for the whole summer, which we still have scholarships available, making sure that people have a knowledge that these things are happening in a variety of places is really important. Thank you, Megan. So we have Science Center and City of Spartanburg. Why don't you just tell us some of the things that are occurring this summer at your particular facilities? And that can be K-5 through, you know, and up, although our out-of-school time collaborative really focuses on middle and high. I want you to share what's going on.
Okay, we, at the Science Center, we actually start with 4K. And one of the things I want to say about summer programming, and I've been a big advocate of it for a long time. Let's say a child has problems in math. Don't put them in a math class in the summer. It just tends to dig that hole deeper. Put them in an engineering class where they will have to use math, a Lego class. We design our Lego classes. For example, I want you to build a structure 12 inches by 12 inches. How many Legos would you need for one side of a four-sided structure? And if you got four-sided, and how far up? We're going to get the reading and math skills integrated in, but I've watched them. We've offered math classes and they walk in. I mean, it's almost like a death row walk. They already know they don't like math or they can't do it. And now you're taking their precious summertime. So my thought is, take them to something else. Put them in a knitting class, a crocheting class, a building class, something where math is integrated, and just sneak it in. It works better if you are a sneak. Yeah, like a vegetable. We go 4K to about 12 years old. This year we have a brand new initiative that was actually developed by one of my Bonner scholars out of Wofford that work with us. It's called the Little Terrier Summer Camp, and they will walk from the Science Center to Wofford. They will have a lesson from Dr. Sally in physics. They will do pottery. They will eat in the cafeteria. They will go into the library. How many of our kids have driven by Wofford and didn't know what was inside that gate? So we decided, let's get them in there, get them on a college campus, and let them experience. So we've done that. We also are in a program, I was just speaking with Kim, for 16 to 20-year-olds, the Spartanburg Community Aviation Program that was developed between myself and Terry Connerton, who's the director of the downtown airport. We scholarship 8 kids at a time. They will change the oil in an airplane. They will fly in a fixed wing. They will fly in a glider. They will fly a drone. We are in currently our 8th class. And at the end of the class, they have a brick which they can put whatever they want, their name, a saying, or whatever, and it is in the sidewalk at the downtown airport forever. So you can go out there and see the students that we have had. Out of our 7 classes that have finished, we have 5 that have soloed. One young lady is an airplane mechanic, and she's getting ready to solo her continental flight. So we have these things on our website, they're there, and those are absolutely no cost. We have a scholarship, but we keep it at 6 at a time so that each one gets to experience that particular thing. They may have never thought of flying because they've already checked it off that list of, I can't do that. That's expensive. I can't do it. Yes, they can. And we have a young man who graduated from Spartanburg. Dorman went to Clemson. He now works with Parrish and Partners. And he talks to them about designing, using engineering to build airports. He's working on the Asheville airport right now. What kind of plants do you plant? What kind of grass? What kind of building? What area should it face because of the wind? That's math. And they don't even know it. They think that's just great. So, you know, my thought to you is if you're looking for your own children, for us, is don't necessarily say, man, you know, you're great, you're gonna go reading. No, but let us put them in something that they'll use that skill, because then when they they learn, I really needed that skill, it now becomes something valuable to them. And they just kind of automatically work with it. We have, our camps are selling out rather quickly. We do have scholarships. I will tell you that in order for us to spread our money wider, I offer a partial scholarship. So what I do is say, what can you pay? And I'll look for the rest. And I have been able to scholarship many more people. And they just tell me what they can pay and I can get the rest. I have a pool of money also. STEM education, STEM careers in colleges for, and I'm saying, I can say minorities, but I can say particularly young ladies, they'll pick up a full college scholarship for STEM related. If you look around Spartanburg at all of these new companies coming in, I'll walk with you into any one and tell them where they're STEM related. All they have to do is use a computer or a machine, and they belong to the STEM workforce. I also, I don't employ, I have a lot of Bonner scholars who work with us. Right now I have 8. They are always there. They can step up and tutor. They'll be happy to help in any way. They're teaching my camps through a grant from out of school time. I have free materials for science fair projects for kids who need them. And my Bonners will help them look at good sites, not just, you know, Wikipedia, but they'll find them a good site for a science project. We are a resource. So basically we're reaching 4K to adult. So just take a look at our website and come up and I'll be happy to show you around and talk to you about it.
Thanks, Mary.
Yeah. So I wanted to share, we started age 5 in the summertime. So we do operate 2 summer day camps at both of our main facilities here at Dr. T.K. Gregg Center and C.C. Woodson. The ages are 5 to 12. And so the fees for that camp is very minimal. It's $50 one-time registration fee. So there is no weekly fee. But even within that, we offer scholarships. We start with Spartanburg Housing, but we also offer scholarships to young people who are part of our programming during the summertime. Anyone who comes up with a need, we can find a way to scholarship them. As when we start to look at middle and high school, we have several things that we do in the summertime. We have a SAIL youth leadership program. Devin was the head of that program for a number of years, and that's for students, I believe, ages 14 to 18. And it takes a look at first how government works. And and we show them different aspects of government, and then we branch out to community partners, and it exposes them to work that they may be interested in later on. And it also gets them kind of a glimpse in looking at what it takes to kind of operate things on a day-to-day basis. Last year, there were 2 programs that we started during the summertime. We have an Explorers group that we've had for a number of years with Boy Scouts, but we added, we kind of merged our Explorers group with a top curriculum, which is Teen Outreach Program, that actually started last summer. And because there's a gap between in our programming, from one program ends at 12 and another one starts at 14, Wanda Cheeks, who's our community engagement coordinator, started a program of a top program for, it's called 13 Explorers, 13 Adventurers. And it starts for age 13. We get a lot of calls with parents. I have a 13-year-old, too old to be in your day camp, but not old enough to be in your cell program or to be an intern. So we started that program, and that program is a free program that runs primarily out of the Dr. T.J. Gray Center, but we do have the ability to have that program in 2 locations. Some other things that we do, we also offer all sports camp during the summertime. And what it looks like is we take 1 week during the summer, and each day we focus on one sport. And we have the coaches at District 7 help us with those camps, and they're open to boys and girls ages 5 and 12. Oh, and we also have a program. It's probably this year going to be more of a monthly event. It's called Teens Outside. So we have a number of kayaks, stand-up paddleboards. So we take a group of teens out once a month and expose them to different areas. Sometimes we go to Camp Frost, it could be Lake Cooley, it could be a simple fishing trip, but it's a way to get those youth who are here kind of in our centers out in places where they may not normally have a chance to do that. And just kind of an overview of what our programming looks like, in particular for middle and high school students. It's an umbrella of what we call a rec mentee. Once you come into our program, we consider you a rec mentee, and what that means is you may be a part of any number of mentoring programs. It can be one-on-one mentoring program with a staff person, it can be group mentoring, but we kind of take you along from age 11 all the way until you graduate. And so SAIL is kind of a conduit to get you to the next level. Once students complete SAIL, then they become eligible to be volunteers with us in our community centers. And most recently, starting last year, they become eligible to be a part of our summer internship program. And that is a paid summer internship program. Last year, we started with 12 interns, and we ended with about 6 of them who stayed on with us. And so this year, through funding from Summer Ethnic Movement, we're able to do that again. So we'll have 12 paid high school interns who will work with us either in our community centers and our camps. You may see them at your organizations, but that is kind of the focus that we have in Parks and Rec. We want to take a young person who comes into us as a 11-year-old and move them through our programming, and then have them to be able to find either work with us or find work with other organizations. We do have a program. Currently, we have one transitional, I think it's called a transitional work program that we're doing with workforce investment. And that is I think he's 21. And so what the program looks like is we provide the transition for him from where he is to where he wants to be. And so we provide the program, the training and things. So if we have a position that's open, when he finishes in 6 weeks, he becomes eligible for that position. If we don't have a position open, then they will work with him to find a position that's similar to the work that we kind of trained him in. So that's one of the things we're doing kind of outside of our organization. And then lastly, I mentioned to Mary that I kind of wanted to highlight 2 things, but I think that might be a question coming up, so I'll wait for it.
Okay, no, that was great. 2 organizations, y'all have a lot going on. Even some of the things that I wasn't aware of yet too. And so think about that. And then the other organizations that we have in our community, those are just 2 examples, and we want to make sure that our youth are engaged. So I feel like there might be 2 different thought patterns about summer. One might be like, I need to put my child in daycare because, I have to work, which is important. And then you have the other thought that's like, I want my student to have a break. Let's just let them stay at home so that they can have a break. So, I guess from any of you, why is it important that we keep youth engaged in some way during the summer? And how have you seen summer programming or any of your programming be impactful for a student when we think about education?
Well, I think for us, it's all about relationship building. That is one thing that we have, that we promise our young people, that we're gonna be with them no matter what phase of their life that they're in. In the summer, it does give us the opportunity to do some things that we may not be able to do during the school year. And it gives us time to be out more, to kind of, build those relationships. So that's, when we look at summer programming, and we look at it, of course, because parents, they do need a place for their children to be, but we want to build those relationships so that during the school year, that you're comfortable with us and you want to come back to our programming, and we can provide those services for those parents throughout the school year also.
Yeah, and I think summer, it's, when I was in the classroom, everybody is aware, if a child does not do anything during the summer, and in their mind, that's what summer is, sleep late, stay up late, whatever. They do tend to lose skills. They tend to lose things. If you don't use them, you lose them. So I think letting kids go in, but make it different, make it something different. I'm sure that all of you have had an aha moment with a child that says, and I can tell you one, but it'll take you to your knees. But, that aha moment when a child says something that you didn't even know they knew, but they knew it. And it became something that they really focused on. My grandson walked in and he said, "Do you know anything about the Titanic?" He was in the first grade. And I said, "Yeah, I know a lot about it. What do you know about the Titanic?" And he went on to tell me, and he read every book he could find and whatever. And I don't know what spurred it. I don't even think he does, but those are the sparks that we're looking for. You're talking about your snakes. We have a camp in June and a camp in July called Animal Care Camp. Both of them are already sold out. They sold out real quick because the kids get one of the animals in the center for a week and they take care of it. They observe it, they look for changes, they take care of it, they get to know it. And it is the most amazing thing. I would say just come up and watch. Like you were drawn, kids are drawn to animals. Kids are drawn to science. But within science, you have to have the reading, you have to have the math, you have to have the teamwork to achieve, if that's something you want to make your life's work. So we offer such a wide difference of it. But I say to you, they will lose skills if they don't lose them. And so we're trying to provide as many of that. When they age out of our camps, a lot of them come back and volunteer. I'll help with summer camp. I'll walk them up and down and I'll tell them, so I have one family, I got the email and it said, "I know she's 15. I know you don't have any 15-year-olds, but she's gone to the summer camp ever since she was 5. And she don't want to give it up. We'll find something for her to do. Bring her up here." So I just think you can be surprised by your children and pick up on a comment that you didn't even know they knew.
And I'll say just one other thing. I think if anything, the pandemic highlighted for us in a severe way that learning takes place outside of the school building. When the schools are closed, brains are still developing, those needs are still there. And just like they both have already highlighted, taking advantage of that in the summers is critical. And one thing I hope you've heard from both of them is this focus on what are skills and characteristics. Savannah already mentioned the profile of the South Carolina graduate, that these out-of-school time providers are embedding in them as they think about college, as they think about a career, as they think about economic mobility for their families. It's not just science to have fun. It's to build, well, it is, but it's also,
It's the
it's
best.
also to be building them as adults. You know, that's what's so fun about adolescence is it's that critical period between childhood and adulthood, and helping to bridge that gap and to mold them into the people that that they want to be. Because one thing that I think we try to do and be really intentional about as a collaborative is really listen to our youth. What do you want? What are your needs? What are you interested in? And we'll come alongside you. We try to not do anything to our youth or for our youth, but with our youth. And I hope you've heard that from both of these organizations. We have so many here in the audience as well that are a part of the collaborative: PAL, Boy Scouts, Broken But Healed. And these just two are up here today, but all of y'all that are out there are doing the same work and doing it really well.
Well, we have a couple more minutes for our panel, so I just want you to underscore again, how can we, or how can someone sign up for your program? How can they receive scholarships if you offer that? And then any other final comments that you have about your summer programming or the impact that your programming has made on you.
And I'll say we've also got some questions online too, so I'd love to have some time for
Great,
that.
yes,
Yeah.
we'll do that.
All right. We try to offer a variety of things in science, different genres. There are kids that'll never go in the animal room, and there are kids who'll never come out of the animal room. So it is not all about that. But what we are looking is trying to find that spark. We offer, it's almost like a buffet. Come up. If your child is interested in something, let them explore it. It's a nice way to explore it. All of ours are online. You can register online. It also says if you're interested in a scholarship, you actually email me and I will send you the form and get right back to you. Our goal is to get as many children through science, through the different genres as possible. I have a Spartan High graduate who is on his way to play football at the collegiate level. And he came to me and said, I'd like to do a camp on exercise science. One of the big downfalls is kids need, during the summer, they get lazy. Can I do that? Yes, that camp is there. So he knows, he went through it. So we're just, I mean, I use the word science to be very broad. And getting children to in there, and usually they come and the next thing I know, they hear what we're doing the next week and they're asking their moms, can they come the next week? But we will do whatever we can to not only get them in our classes, but to offer that spark. And then the mentorship, especially with our aviation program, and I did want to say that because it's with the city of Spartanburg Airport. Those pilots, we have written letters of recommendations to go along. If you're thinking about where is my child, he's going to apply to school. I want to go to Clemson. Okay, well, I had a group of young people shocked yesterday when I said, you know, not only South Carolina people apply to Clemson. And they said, what? And I said, no, you're competing with people around the world who want to go to Clemson. And I said, what can you do that will make that application pop? Well, if you have a letter that says, I'm from a mentor of an aviation program as a junior in high school or a senior, oh, okay, that might be. So we're constantly working with them, or come work with me, volunteer at the Science Center. Volunteer anywhere, I think, is important for kids. And if they can volunteer, they set up a natural mentorship, and then you have that person that can add that letter. I even wrote a letter of recommendation to medical school for a young lady that worked with us, and they commented to her. because they didn't, where the medical school was located, they didn't even have a science center. Well, we're not a giant science center, but we're a science center.
Small
So,
but mighty, Mary.
yeah, so I think that, any of these kinds of things where we can help is what we want to do. And we'll be celebrating our 45th year in February. So I say to you, we've been around a long time. We want to be around a lot longer. So, take advantage. And we'll take any suggestions.
Thanks, Mary.
So we do have registration currently online, and you can also walk into our facilities to register for our 2 summer day camps. Applications for the SEL program, I think they've been out for a couple of weeks, and I believe the deadline for that will be the last day of May. And then those students will be chosen for the SEL program. Some of the other camps and things that I mentioned, those registrations will come online maybe 2 weeks before the program starts. The sports camps, the teen outside events, they will be on our social media pages and on our website. You can actually sign up for those online or in person. 13 Adventure, I'm not certain right now when the start date will be for that. We normally start that a few weeks after our summer day camp starts. So that way we can get summer day camp going and then identify those 13-year-olds who may be in that gap that I mentioned before.
So one other thing, on the Summer Shakedown website, which is going to go out, it's also on connectspartanburg.org's page, but maybe science or sports aren't your thing. We have the art museum, there are art programs. Maybe you don't live in the city. Maybe you live out in the county, which is actually a place where we don't have as much programming. There are opportunities taking place in Bowling Springs, in Chesney, Chapman. So there are a range of programs and a range of geographies. And we do have some on there that are focused on SAT, ACT, test prep, or, sorry, Mary, but literal math tutoring.
Yeah.
If that is what you
It's
need.
there.
If that is what you need. So parents, I'm a parent, I have 4 kids, middle to 1st grade. Like, we can't do it alone. It is a really tough job. And these are the type of organizations and the type of adults that I want my kids to be involved in. We talk a lot about social capital and the ability to open doors. And you've heard Mary talk about that. I know the city does a great job with those, the mentoring type programs. So even if you don't need summer programming as childcare, do it for your kids so that they can have access to these great adults and those type of relationships, because who knows what those doors can open for them in the future.
Thanks, Megan. So we have some questions.
Yeah, I'll relay a couple and they're related, but I'll start with, are there resources for kids who maybe want or need to work during the summer? You already mentioned some paid internships, but not just the education aspect, but if there's actual paid opportunities as well for those who want to work, get that experience.
I know about the opportunity that the city has offered. I'm not aware of other opportunities at this point.
Okay.
That's an area that we've talked about as a collaborative, as youth get older and they're looking
Yeah.
for paid opportunities. What does that look like? So
Yeah.
that's an area that we can grow in.
Well, if I can just add to that, because our other question was related, and I think it just reiterates maybe the need to focus on that. It was from Laura Barbers Roden at Wofford and the studies that have been conducted there. And she was asking if we could talk about some of the efforts to be responsive to the reality of a lot of youth being caregivers and income earners in our community. And so if we don't, maybe if we don't have a direct response for that, we're hearing it from the,
And I was going to add that was one of the reasons why when we applied for some of that funding, that was kind of the backdrop of what we were looking at, because a lot of our young people, once they got to a certain age, they wanted to be a part of our programming, but there wasn't a balance. They had to assist mom either with caring for their young people or bringing in some type of income into the household. And so we looked at, how can we kind of bridge that gap, also keep them connected with us, teach them skills, of course, have fun in Parks and Rec, but also provide opportunities for them to make, to make money. And we actually pay them once a week because we know how, young people, they do things, they want something immediate. So I think that's one of the things that they enjoy, and we give them the opportunity to be a part of a number of things happening. They don't just have to be in the community center. If you have programming that's going on, we have interns that can help out. You can say, yes, you can bring them for 4 hours, come over and help out, and we can count that towards their internship.
And this isn't as related to summer programming, but I mentioned how we try to listen to our youth, and we try to be intentional at SAM, and I know Connect and some of our other partners, that whenever we do have focus groups with youth or ask them to come in and advise a group of adults or anything, anytime we use them, we try to pay them because that is their time and we don't want to take them away from a job if they are supporting their family, but to treat them the same way that we would want to be treated for our expertise. Their expertise, they're experts in being youth, and it's a commitment of ours to pay them when we rely on them for that.
Others, Rita?
Yes, I think this question is for Miss Mary, for the Science Center. Is that only available to Spartanburg residents, or would, for instance, in my case, would my grandchildren visiting for the summer, would they be eligible to participate in it?
Yes, and I say that unequivocally because my daughter is a Coast Guard wife, and I get 3 grands every summer because they think summer means you have to spend it in Spartanburg. And so what I do is I put them in the camps myself. I feel like if I didn't do that, then it's like, oh, they're not good enough for your, oh, yes, they are. And even that mentoring, I have a set of twin granddaughters who are 8 and then a grandson who is 10. And one of the twins who I claim no genetic connection to, she acts like her grandmother, that's the truth. But she said, oh, by the way, make sure you tell Miss Catherine I will be there for summer camp this summer. And I'm like, you don't even know what she's teaching. But they do, yes, we do that and offer scholarships or whatever. I, being a military brat myself, my mother was actually from Spartanburg, took her nurses training at Spartanburg General at the time, and joined the Army World War II at Camp Croft. So she was overseas. So my mother actually wore combat boots. And my father was a colonel in the Air Force. So I'm particularly sensitive to military children that sometimes stay with grandparents while parents are moving. And so absolutely, science is for everybody. So yes.
And is it a full day or a half day?
We have 2 sessions. Some weeks you'll just have to look. We run 9 to 12 or 1 to 4. So if you're going to grant your child to sleep a little later, then they can take a 1 to 4 class or otherwise come in the morning time. We really take the 12 to 1 to retool.
But Rita, that does bring up a good point that on the Summer Shakedown scholarship page, that is just for Spartanburg County residents and just for rising 6th graders and up. So it asks for your zip code on there. And part of that is because we have a federal grant that is tracking this, and we have to, our partners have to turn that into the feds. So we have had folks from Cherokee County, from Greenville County, but unfortunately they can participate in the programs, but just that $200 is just for Spartanburg County students.
Yeah, and I'll say on our website, you don't actually register for the program on the Summer Shakedown website. We just have them listed and the contact person so that you can reach out. But those scholarship requests come directly to Megan and myself, and then we communicate that they've been approved to that provider.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Savannah.
What camps or programs do you recommend? So if you have a child, high school, not living in the city, who may have a special needs, whether, may be on the autism spectrum, And for instance, like the YMCA, they are hiring for, you know, teenagers to work. But if you have a child who may not with stimulation with being around, like having children like kind of running around everywhere and lots of noise, like what programs are there out there? Because there are camps that are there that are, and I'll just say, for instance, so like for our son, so there was a camp that we were looking at, but it fills up so quick when you first find out about it, but they're like $3,000 and $5,000 camps for 12 days. And so, yeah, and, yeah, they're all cool, but, so someone has money. So, but what you all have, like for that you recommend, the aviation sounds really good, but if you have that for those parents that are out there, these are for high school children.
Your question is about like full day camps or is maybe special camps?
Whether it be full day camps or it could be, you know, like the 4 hours or something like that.
Yeah, so with us, I would recommend a program that is kind of seated more so in our program that happens year long. It does start in the summertime, but we are with those teenagers throughout the year. And sometimes those groups are very small groups, in particular with our explorers group, which looks at different career opportunities, but also looks at a lot of community service and being able to be out and serve. Sometimes those groups are as small as 3 young people in a particular group, but sometimes it can be 15 people in a group. So I would suggest a conversation with Wanda about what those program offerings are currently and any suggestions on what we can do moving forward.
We have had children, I've had a deaf child apply for the aviation program and actually go through it. It really takes the parents saying, yes, they can handle this. They can get the most out of it. For the Science Center programming, really our programming in-house, it goes up to about 12 years old. One of the things that we have had, we do get a lot of children sometimes that are on the spectrum, and they come in and just actually interact with the animals a lot. And that's a more quiet area because we ask them not to run and scream and scare our snakes. And so a lot of times children that are on the spectrum or that have a disability somehow can communicate with the animals and they can come in and help feed and do things like that until something more opens up.
Another partner of ours is Halter. Not sure if you're familiar with Nancy or not out there, but they do equine therapy. They've partnered with the Department of Mental Health before, but they, you know, are very trained staff in working with students with multiple abilities. And so she might be someone to talk to as well. They have older volunteers that come and, like Mary was saying, work directly with the animals or help do things around the stables.
Stables.
So she would be someone that we could connect you to as well.
Yeah.
Well, can we give our panelists a hand? All right. Well, thank you to those who are listening virtually. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do this work without partnership. We wouldn't be able to do this work without donor support so that we can provide scholarships. So thank you. If you want to engage with us, you can engage. If you want to give to support more youth, give. If you want to provide thought partnership about some of the barriers, come to us. There's so many different ways that you can have an impact. And we want you to share this, share your knowledge, and let's think about ways that we can pull you together this summer so that they are connected and have their relationships. The final thing that I want to share before we close out, and this is shifting from our out of school time, but Prepare to Thrive, which is on the early learning side of what we do in education at United Way. We have 4 main areas: access to books, parent engagement, childcare and teacher supports, and summer time supports. And one of the things that we are doing right now, this is the last week for us to participate in a book drive to support new teacher classrooms. So we have 2 different book drives that are going on in Spartanburg and Cherokee counties. I have the link up there. We'll also share that following this. But if you would like to participate, please go to that link. And locally in Spartanburg, there's also a partnership with Hub City, and you can purchase books there. So thank you so much. Thank you for those watching virtually. Thank you in the audience. We'll stick around for a few minutes. We appreciate you.